and I didn't know anything about geology and didn't, really didn't know anything about it. But I liked camping and being outdoors and doing that kind of thing. And one of my brothers said, when you're in college, you have to take distribution requirements for science. So he said, take geology, you might like it. So I had a very fun and interesting professor in Geology 101, and then I took, Geology 102, and then I said, well, that's pretty good. I'll take mineralogy, and really had a wonderful class of mineralogy and really got hooked. And it helped that when I was the spring of my freshman year, there was a big field trip organized by the geology department, and I got invited on the field trip, and then invited to this party afterwards. So we were drinking beer with the professors and calling them by their first names. So I thought, wow, this is a great department. So that's kind of what spurred my interest. More in integrating things and bigger picture things. And my motto has always been, look small but think, and think big. So.
You have to, yeah.
But that's an interesting question. I suppose that could be said about a lot of subdisciplines in geology, and I think in a way that's good because nowadays geology is more about integrating different disciplines, having collaborative research projects and research teams, trying to see how once thought of areas that never had anything to do with one another actually do have a lot to do with one another, and so that's really for me really exciting part of geology now. And so hence the whole thing about integrating tectonics and petrology and mountain building with lands. Production zone there, that's the one that faulted to make the tsunami and all that in 2000, whatever. This trench, what's filling this trench? It's not deep sea sediment or deep sea clay. Do you know what it is? It's a huge amount of this sediment gets all the way down into the Indian Ocean, all the way down into this trench, and it's clogging up this trench. Place, and it's just so stimulating and interesting, kind of intellectually and culturally, and I love Indian food and
yeah.
Love to travel. The mountains there are just amazing. And when Lewis was hired, we sort of had this very fortuitous kind of serendipitous collaboration develop, and it's been just fantastic. And it's it's just a great way we bring very disparate interests and very disparate expertise together to work on common problems. And again, it's this opportunity for us to see how Earth's internal processes and tectonics and Earth's surface processes are linked to one another,
yeah.
with the overarching link to climate, which is just really stimulating and interesting.
Yeah.
So working in India, which I had when we hired Lewis, I had absolutely, and I can honestly say, no idea when I would ever go there. But Lewis said, "How'd you like to? We should go on a field."
Okay.
So we've been going. I think we missed 2 out of the past 7 years. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
And your next trip there is this summer?
It's coming in June, right?
And you're going to be doing the same sort of.
Well, it's an interesting trip. We always like to integrate teaching and research, and it's an awfully long way to go. Not to collect some samples and do some more research. So we're gonna work on something. Our latest sort of facet of our research is working on erosion rates, because we'd like to understand more about how erosion rates vary both within individual ranges and across the whole precipitation gradient. We'd like to understand better how hill slope processes and fluvial erosion, glacial erosion work and what the rates are. And we'll probably work on something related to that, because we found this extremely interesting result in the Ladakh range, where we found in unglaciated slopes of this range, where it's extremely dry, the erosion rates are super duper slow, and they're less than let's see, what are the rates? 0.2 meters per million years, right? This is just extraordinarily slow.
Less than.
Yeah, so this is an extant landscape, we call this. Probably you can look at those mountainsides and see, what the landscape has looked like for the past several 100,000 years, or maybe even as old as a few million, or even maybe back to the Miocene, if you can believe that, right? So it's just like a 5 million year old landscape or 10 million year old landscape, just still there.
The erosion rates are so different throughout that whole range.
Oh yeah, this is one of the super exciting things about the range, the disparate rates of processes, and how climate changes across the range, and what kind of rocks are exposed, and it's just absolutely fantastic place.
Are you going to be taking cosmogenic samples?
Yeah, we'll do that. And, because we have a new colleague coming on in January, Ava Enkelman, who's going to be doing fission track dating, and Ava can do helium dating also. So we'll have a whole new set of chronometers, thermal chronometers to work with.
Wow.
So we can push back the temperature range and therefore the time range farther back. And that's going to be just really exciting, because one of the big challenges in this business is linking the geomorphic rates and the geomorphic processes, which happen on millennial or longer time scales, tens of thousands of years or hundreds of thousands of years, back to a few million years, and linking those two time realms is real challenging. So we'll work on that, and that's going to be really, really neat. And her research will allow us to really understand the bedrock uplift.
Yeah. You're a very busy man.
We all are, as we were fond of saying. Lots to do.
What do you enjoy on your downtime?
Well,
on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, I have a lot of interest in a lot of different things. We have 3 dogs and 3 cats in our household. They're a lot of fun. I love to read, and I'm turned into a big history buff. So I like all of it, history. So
really.
I like history from about 20,000 years ago.
Oh, short-term history.
Yeah, and so I like to read, and I like to, when I have time to, run and get some exercise, and I like good food, and I like brewing beer, and
you brew your own beer.
Well, I'm no expert. I'm just a kit brewer waiting to move on to the big stage of whole grain, and actually met a guy this fall who's going to get together with me and school me on how to brew with real grains.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's always lots to do.